So welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the Ducks project, and today I'm going to do something I haven't seen too many people do in Sanctuary. I'm going to do some building under the bridge here, so it all links the kind of Ducks area through to the water treatment plant that you can see in front of us, and we will build a little bit more into that area a little bit later, but today we're going to do some settlers homes under the bridge here, and I'm going to make them very scrappy in essence. Now a lot of this is kind of repetitive, so I've sped it up quite a bit at times just to get this done. There was a lot of footage to get through, and in fact I think the last video that we did I said that this would be the last one and we get a tour. I didn't realise actually how much footage we had. So I'm going to have to do one more video after this one. So just trying to get the foundations down right now. But it's been a while since I've done a little scrappy build, so I enjoyed this one a lot. I've noticed when I put those foundations down, they're not quite straight, but that's okay. I'm not too worried. Now, one of the things that I've been in the habit of doing just lately is using these end caps as doors, and so it's a nice little idea. If you haven't used that kind of idea before, is just to use that as a doorway rather than have a formal doorway. And we will put a lot of scrappy walls, a lot of different textures in here to make it look as though, and you can see I've put an end cap and that fits perfectly on there as a covering or a doorway in there. So no formal doors, just improvised doors, but I will put a lot of textures in here to make it look as though they've just come along and just used whatever they could find to build these little shacks here. And there's going to be a whole lot of workers that live under the bridge here at Sanctuary, which is a bit of a different twist, I guess. So we're using all manner of wood for now, and I'm just trying to get roughly the overall kind of structure in place. And I apologise if it looks a little bit dark. I did try and brighten this up. I didn't realise when I was doing the building, I just kind of got into the zone. I didn't realise that it was getting kind of late in the day or late in the night time. And so I do go and sleep in a little while, and it does all brighten up. But I've tried to brighten the footage as much as possible because it was quite dark. So I wanted a little area that was a little bit elevated above the original. So it took me quite a while to get this right, and I had to persuade it into place and tweak it and persuade it and tweak it. But eventually it's really worth, I think it was really worth it, because we end up with a nice little area up the top here. And it all kind of works pretty well with the overall look that I'm going for. Now, I did install the extended borders mod into my mod list, but I'm not going to use it in this build. I started to use it, but I decided not to use it because I could have built right across here all the way under the bridge, but I decided not to do that because I don't think it quite works for what I'm looking to try and do, because I want to just have these little pockets of housing for the settlers. You can see here I'm just tweaking this just a fraction just to get it completely right, and using these shack foundation bridges that come with workshop rearranged and various other mods. So if you want to snap a floor a little bit lower, that's one way of doing it. You just use those little stairs and put them down, snap them, and then snap things off it. So I'm just trying to get this absolutely spot on. And these are the things that can cost you the time, just these small things that you don't anticipate. So the big stuff, and then you suddenly run across a small thing like this, and it can take you 20 minutes, half an hour to get it in the right place. But we get there with the aid of Place Anywhere. And I know it's only a small detail, but it's so I'm probably going to have to switch the collision off on this one again to get it to work. So I had about 40, nearly 50 minutes of footage, and we've managed to knock it down to about 20 here. So I did cut quite a bit out, but we gonna make a little sleeping area up in here. And so one of the big things that I had to just think about was make sure it's not clipping through too much of the bridge, so that when they walk over there's something sticking out. So hanging these little end caps off the end is pretty has a pretty good look, and I think it's excellent, and just what I kind of had in my head that I wanted to do. Of course, you've got to just keep an eye on all your different heights here and make sure you can get underneath and stuff like that, but apart from that it's all pretty straightforward. And I want to get back to kind of really just having a really scrappy look, but then kind of mixing it up with different textures just to give it a little bit more depth. So I'm using these walls that come with a mod called the Scrappy Collection or something like that. Unfortunately, for some reason, they don't snap to anything. So you know, I don't know what the mod designer was doing, but they're great little walls, that options for walls that are looking a little bit different, but they don't snap to anything. So and I do use several mods in this build and mix those kind of textures up as much as possible. This is fighting me a little bit, but that's okay. We eventually get it all in. So we're going to sleep in a second, and there we go, daylight. So you can see it a little bit better, how it's all kind of coming together. I didn't actually do a practice run on this. I just got straight into it and started building. So a lot of this is very much improvised, very much so. And it just I looked at this area for quite a while to try and figure out what I could use it for, and then sunlight came to me. Now I do put this wall in that is a kind of sanctuary house wall. I don't end up leaving these in, I actually end up swapping them out, because I just, after a while looking at them, I looked at them and thought, nah, they don't quite fit there, they're not quite working for me. But that's okay, that's something that you will do when you're building. Just try different things, there's nothing wrong with it, and just see what kind of sort of works for you, what sort of doesn't work with the overall look. See, I need to throw a few more walls in to see what happens, see what it looks like. So I love these shack walls, these ones here, these corrugated ones. They got a little bit of glass in them, and they look pretty good. So it's good to be back building again. I have a few things going on in real life. It's I've had to kind of do a whole lot of videos way ahead of time, because I've got a few things going on in the personal life that I've got to attend to. I've also been pumping out, for those of you that follow the channel quite closely, I've been pumping out a lot of the new Assassin's Creed videos. So if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, check some of those out. I'll leave a link probably to the first episode in this video, if that interests you. The new Assassin's Creed is fantastic. I'm enjoying playing that game at the moment, and I'm really pumping out almost daily episodes for the channel. But it is good to be back building, so good. So I'm just having a good look as I do, just to see how this is all kind of starting to unfold, and seeing whether it fits with the kind of overall look, and everything's kind of is it as I was kind of had in my head when I started building, and it's sort of starting to get there. You never really know until you finish the build, to be honest, a lot of the time, how it's actually going to end up. And the other thing is, you know, you also have to be working and improvising and tweaking things as you go. So, and you'll see a lot of that during this this session of the docks, and I think it's nice change of pace here. Something a little bit different that probably didn't expect to have in this build, and so we'll maybe put a little bedroom or something up in there. kind of figuring out what each area is going to be used for. And that's a good tip for you if you're when you're building, is to, as you build, just try and figure out what you're going to utilize each area for. So this is going to kind of be a bedroom area up here, and I do get, there is only kind of one area where you can get down here, but you can get up there, so I'll kind of leave that. And I also spend a lot of time leaving gaps, deliberately leaving gaps and open areas in the roof structure, because I really want this to have a really derelict, thrown together look about it, and it works well, that you don't necessarily have to be pristine and plug every single gap that you come across. So I'm going to put a few of these outer shack walls here, and we'll also make this into a little bit of a bedroom area, and you'll see when we finally get to the tour, which I'm hoping it possibly might be next week, because I've got a little bit more building to do after this in this particular area to finish off this, and there's one thing that I build up on the pier, in the main pier, and I also have a little bit of decorating to do before I can do the final tour. So it might be another week, maybe next week or the week after, before I'm going to be able to do the tour. But I'm going to call this phase 1 of the build, and we will definitely, before we move on to the second phase of the build, or the foreshore, I will do a tour video for you guys. I know that a lot of people have been following this particular series quite closely, and I thank you for all the likes and all the comments that you've made. I know that people are really enjoying this, which is great for me as a builder, because sometimes with these projects and builds, you never know if they're going to work and people are going to like them. So thank you for everybody for the support on the channel, just lately, and especially for this build. So we have two projects running at the moment. We have the Ducks project running, and we have Fixing Up the Commonwealth, which is a series that I've done. We're just going to block that gap now. A series that I've decided to do where I've gone to my old saves, my original first playthrough of Fallout, and I've had a look at a number of settlements that I made way back then when I first started building, and picked one. Well, I didn't pick it, my viewers did, my subs, and picked a settlement for me to go back and redo or renovate, rebuild a little bit, take things out, put things in, etc. And that has become a very popular series at the moment. That's running on a Thursday for me in Australia, Wednesday Northern Hemisphere. And thank you so much for the feedback on that, because it's not me that's setting the direction on the build, it's actually everybody that participates on the channel and leaves comments, and we're building some really neat stuff. So here I'm using these scrap walls, boards and stuff like this, and the thing we're using these now, I know you can get these in USO and they act a little bit differently, but because I run the master plan plus I run workshop rearranged, these actually will snap to things, because both those mods help the snapping process. But the secret to these is that you get one in. If you can get one in, everything should snap off that one wall or one part. If that's not working for you, do what I'm doing here. Snap them on any kind of wall, and then pick them up and use either the pillar, the rug, or whatever to put them into place. And it's just a case of going through all the different items that you have, and just layer them on top of each other, and just keep plugging those gaps until you're happy with them. And it really gives you a different option, because it's not a wall. It's not a wall that you just snap in. You're actually making a wall out of whole different lots of elements, and it actually helps sell the overall look for me. Now I have these metal sheets that come with workshop rearranged. They are fantastic. They are fantastic for filling gaps. and they're a bit tricky, I'm not going to lie, but once you get one in, everything will snap off each other. So you can see I do have a little bit of a struggle here, but then once I get one in, and you'll see once it snaps in where I want it to snap in, everything will snap off it, and it just takes a little bit of persuading to snap them in. I think that stair is the problem. If I take the stair out, they'd probably just snap in logically. There you go, it snapped in like that. And I haven't gone for a uniform look here. I want a look that's not completely uniform, and I think it just adds a little bit more to the overall look and sells the overall look of that. This is just been thrown together with whatever they could find, as best as they could find. So I think that certainly works. And you can see again there's gaps in the ceiling, there's all kinds of stuff going on here, and I think it just helps to sell the overall look, to be honest. So we're getting pretty close to the end now. We're making good progress here, and we're going to do some work up top in a minute, just to try and pull all this area together. So it is starting to look pretty good. So now I'm up on top of the next to the bridge, just above these, and I wanted to link this area here and put some kind of defensive area up on here. So there's a roof area up top that really, we could leave it like that, but it just looked a bit ordinary, so I'm going to put a little walk-through area in here. Use these cinder block stairs, and they actually fit perfectly size wise to get up and over that wall, which is good. There we go, just up and over we go, and we'll put those little stairs on the other side. They should just snap straight in. There we go, as close as possible. There you go, and that links all that nicely together. Now I take that out because that's just floating and doing nothing really. So it gives me a nice little area on top here to do a little bit of decoration on. Just probably need to switch the snapping off on that little bridge there, and just position it a bit better. But for now it just runs onto the roof, which I like, and might even just put a piece of plywood on there just to, and that's what I do. Just to plug that gap there. Plywood is fantastic. I don't know what we would have done before plywood. It gets you out of so many problems and fixes so many areas. So a few supports under there, and we're pretty much done for this part. So we've got a little bit more building down here to do. I've done a fair bit of decoration down here, and I think that area that we're looking at out in front, I have an idea what I can chuck in there, because I think it's important that we link all these different areas all together, so this whole part of the river looks as though it's all connected pretty well. So I'm having a few dramas with this one. I don't know why it wants to snap everywhere, but that's okay. Snap everywhere except where I want it to snap. That's pretty much us for today, guys. When we come back, we'll finish this section off. Hopefully I'll do a little bit of work down in front of us there. We'll do a little bit more work on the dock, and then we can get into the tour. So thanks for watching this episode, guys. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I love hearing your comments, and we will catch you next time.